Another $1,200 may be headed your way in a new stimulus bill. It's one of the three things you need to know today. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi unveiling a more than $3 trillion coronavirus stimulus plan. It would provide nearly $1 trillion in aid for states, cities, and local governments to avoid layoffs, and the House could vote on this measure as early as Friday. Number two, SSI recipients will receive their stimulus payments today. If you get SSI and did not file in 2019 or 2018, you should receive your payment from the IRS by direct deposit or to your Direct Express card if you did not use the IRS's non-filer tool. And number three, new this afternoon, authorities in Wuhan are planning to test all 11 million residents in the next 10 days. This comes after a handful of fresh infections were found there. Breaking this afternoon, Paul Manafort, the former campaign chairman for President Trump, has been released from prison to serve the remainder of his sentence in home confinement. His release is due to concerns of coronavirus. It follows a request from his attorneys to the Federal Bureau of Prisons that he may be allowed to leave the prison due to underlying health concerns. Meanwhile, the deadline to sign up to get your stimulus check electronically has now officially passed. It ended just an hour ago. Moving forward, the government will start prepping those paper checks. Those are expected to be sent out later this month through the beginning of June. There are more testing sites available to you now in Southeast Texas. If you live in Jasper County, you can visit the Sub Courthouse in Buna. It's open until 4 o'clock this afternoon. The city of Port Arthur and Jefferson County have a testing site available as well. It's in downtown Pavilion on Proctor Street. It will also be open until 4 o'clock, but you do need to call to pre-register. The number to do that, there on your screen, 409-550-2536. This week, Governor Abbott ordered all nursing home residents and staff to be tested for COVID-19, and now agencies here in the state are on it. National Guard forces are stepping in to help disinfect long-term facilities. Here they are disinfecting a nursing home in Austin. Soldiers dressed in protective gear while they spray and wipe down every room. The latest cleanup is just one way Texas military departments are helping nursing home residents. Well, it's getting closer to that time. We're talking about graduation, and Lamar University is making a huge announcement. They will be holding a virtual graduation for the class of 2020. The celebration is expected to start tomorrow with a video tour of graduate signs posted all around campus. Each sign will have a photo of a graduate and their degree. A video of the graduates' names will be on display on Friday from 9 to 5 at Provost Umphrey Stadium, and then later that night, the virtual graduation will take place. You can watch all the events on the school's website, Facebook, and YouTube pages. With the current school year wrapping up, parents are now shifting their concerns to plans for next year. The TEA says this year's closures could have a devastating impact on students' achievements. Because of that, the agency is suggesting intersessional calendars that would include an earlier start date for schools, a long winter break, and then a later end date. The calendar also includes a built-in remote learning time and staggered in-person attendance. While we're talking about schools, if your child receives free or reduced lunches at school, you could be getting some money from the state. Governor Greg Abbott announcing Texas Health and Human Services will provide more than $1 billion in food benefits to families with children who have temporarily lost access to free meals due to COVID-19 school closures. The federal pandemic electronic benefit transfer provides a one-time benefit of $285 per child. It's meant for students ages 5 to 18, and you have to have received SNAP food benefits in March in order to be eligible. Families that qualify should receive these benefits on their Lone Star cards by next Friday, May 22nd. Despite early reports suggesting COVID-19 doesn't seriously impact children, new studies now show children who contract the virus can become seriously, even critically ill. 1 in 4 children who tested positive for coronavirus had to be hospitalized with severe symptoms, and many of them had no pre-existing conditions. NBC's Kristen Dahlgren with more on this disturbing news.
The nation's top coronavirus expert at a Senate hearing Tuesday. with a warning about the assumption children aren't severely impacted by COVID-19.
We don't know everything about this virus, and we really better be very careful, particularly when it comes to children. Well, right now, children presenting with COVID-19 who actually have a very strange inflammatory syndrome, very similar to Kawasaki's syndrome.
Pediatric multisystem inflammatory syndrome, or PIMS, is rare, but making some children very sick. While new research also shows some children with COVID-19 are presenting with severe respiratory or gastrointestinal symptoms.
I think it's really early to know how different or similar this is going to turn out to be in children versus adults, but we know for sure that children are developing two separate kinds of diseases from COVID.
The immune response symptoms can include high fever, rash, abdominal pain, and the inflammation can attack organs like the heart or kidneys. At least 3 children have died, and cases in infants to teenagers are now suspected in at least 14 states. New York alone has 100 cases.
It's probably in other states and probably hasn't been diagnosed yet in other states because, again, these children don't present the usual COVID symptoms.
There are treatments that seem to be working. We first introduced you to Jaden Hardawar last week when he was still in intensive care at New York's Cohen Children's Medical Center. The 8-year-old went into cardiac arrest, never even knowing he had coronavirus. On Tuesday, Jaden went home to a standing ovation from first responders. So there is optimism if it's caught early. The CDC hopes to, by tomorrow, send guidance to doctors nationwide to help them identify and track cases. Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News, New York.
And for more updates on statewide nursing home testing, as well as the SSI recipients receiving their stimulus payments and all things COVID-19, make sure that you download the 12 News Now app and turn on your notifications for the latest alerts.